Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin, and we're here with another Super Seat this week. It's going to be a 2025 Renegade Valencia 38RB. The reason I like this one, it keeps you under that 40-foot range, and it's the fresh start into getting into that Freightliner Super Seat chassis. So this one's going to be built on the S2 RV chassis. What that means to you is you'll have a 12,000 pound tow capacity. You'll have a 6.7 liter ISB block Cummins, and it'll be 360 horsepower and 800 foot-pounds of torque. So what makes Super Seats unique to a lot of the Class A's and stuff is they're a front engine diesel. So what that means is you have easy access to all the components. A lot more truck stops will service everything up there, and if you want to do some of the maintenance on your own, you can actually get in there without removing side panels and hatch covers and everything like you do on Class A's. So while we're up here in the front, you can see that it utilizes a three-piece bumper. So you have the center and then the left and right side. So if you're ever in any impact and it bends the bumper out of the way, you can easily remove that section to get where you're going. Or if it bends in the right angle, you don't have to worry about it nicking your tires and stuff. They have cables to keep the hatch full extensions, but there's also a gas-assisted strut. So when you're closing it, it doesn't just slam down, because this is a very, very heavy fiberglass hood. They do paint the bumpers to match the rest of the coach, so you don't just have that nice big chrome bumper, you have the actual body paint on it. We'll work our way down the passenger side to cover a lot of the exterior stuff, and then we'll hit the driver's side on there. You will have left and right side cameras on it. They are mounted down below at the belt line on this coach, so when you turn on those blinkers, it'll switch on the camera inside, and you don't have to worry about running over the small cars or things of that nature, and you can see those blind spots that you get on big vehicles like this. You do have electric mirrors on the top and then manual mirror on the bottom. You can fold them in if you need to get into those tighter spaces. Inside, you'll have a couple different things. So cubbies built in, you'll have metal steps right here, so you can actually like scrape some dirt or snow off your feet and knock it all off, and also gives you that extra traction whenever you have the wet environments going on. On the door itself, they'll have a little reflector here, so if your door's open and you're on the side of the road or anything, cars can actually see it and you're less likely to get sideswiped and the door taken off. So just a little bit of safety precaution there. While you're looking up, you do have a big molded fiberglass cap. That will be the overhead bunk inside. They do have two options for it, where you can do like the entertainment cap or the bunk over top, and we usually do the bunk just for that additional sleeping space to match the seating capacities that are in here. All right, so down, we'll keep working our way down. You'll start with a big entry door. It is an extra wide door. You do have a large piece of glass in there, so you can see who's at your door. And then there's also a blackout shade built into that, so you can close it down and just get a little bit darker inside. Electric double step in here. With the Valencias, they're going to be propane coaches. You don't eliminate propane until you get to the Verona and the Verona LEs. So you will have Truma Aquago on this. It'll be a continuous hot water. And it runs directly off your propane. So what's cool about the continuous is it's only using propane as it needs it to heat up that water, and it's not constantly just heating a tank like you get with the older style 6-gallon and larger gas and electric tanks. So we'll start up in this first compartment. You do have your inverter in here as well as your solar controller. The inverter is going to power the residential fridge that's inside, as well as a few of the outlets. In the Renegade specifically, you'll have lined compartments. There's two options for it. You can do the carpet lined or the bed liner upgrade, and that's going to help insulate this compartment door as well as help with any road noise transference while you're driving down the road. They do use big seals all the way around, just with little pinholes in them, just to let the air out when that seal compresses. And they also have two latches on there, so when it closes, it gets nice even pressure along those seals. So we already staged this one some, so the awning is out up above us, and we'll see that when we get towards the back. And you do also have an exterior TV with a sound bar. So if you like doing tailgating events or just want to spend time outside when it's not a hot day like today, you can, and just enjoy being outside instead of cooped up in the RV. And the next one, this is going to be one of your larger storage bays. So in here, same carpet line, you do have lights inside, and you can control the cargo lights from inside on one of the control panels. You do have slide locks, so you have 2 for the front big slide as well as 1 for the smaller rear slide. You don't have to use those, but they are there just if you want that additional security. You do have air line that you can connect into the ping tanks if you need to pump air up any tires or air up any tow vehicle tires or anything of that nature, so they do provide that. And then in this compartment in the top right corner, there's also an outlet with the cutaway in the bottom right, so you can run any extension cords. If you want to set up a table outside under the awning, you can do that as well. So here's going to be your other large compartment. So they try to make or utilize as much space as they can butting up against the drivetrain on this motorhome. So it is tall, and then it does recess a little bit deeper than the other one. So you can fit smaller tables, the lounge chairs, or any of that outdoor equipment that you want. A lot of customers will bring, you know, their own grills and stuff if they choose to. Let's see, we'll keep working our way back here. So this one, you'll have another larger storage bay. So in here, you'll actually see a little black box in there. So what that is that's the slide room controller for the bed slide. So it utilizes an electric slide in there. And if it ever gets out of sync or you need to reset it or anything, you can actually see the lights through that hole. And you can remove that panel and actually reset the slide if you need to. You can find a video on YouTube, or you can call Bill, our technical advisor, if you bought one from us. And he can help walk you through that, just like so you don't get stranded on the side of the road. On the right side of that compartment, you'll have an LP quick connect. So that's for if you want to have an outside grill tied into your coach propane tank because you don't want to bring an extra little portable one. You can do that, and again, they give you another little cutout so you can keep all your bays closed. So this last compartment is going to be the second portion of that one. So this will be your longest compartment, but not your deepest. So if you want to keep pre-built fishing rods or anything of that nature in there, you can. Or, you know, half-assembled flag poles if you're one that wants to sport your colors. So as we get to the back of the coach, Jody, we're going to pan to the right side. So you can actually see the Girard slide toppers that are mounted to above each of the slides, as well as the Girard awning that's mounted up there. So it is push button. You can push it, you can manually do it from inside, and then you could also control it from your phone once you connect it to the Firefly panel inside. The LED light strip is mounted to the end of it, so you can utilize that outdoor light when the slide is closed or open, and it does provide an ample amount of shade when you're not pointing right at the sun like we are. So Renegade uses a huge rear molded fiberglass cap, so you will have all your insulation and everything behind that. And what's cool about using a molded cap versus a bonded cap is they can run wiring or all of that back through this easier. You can run additional wiring if you want to put more outlets or access any of the brake lights or anything easier. But they actually do have one seam down towards the bottom. So it is 2 pieces down here. So they do this bottom portion for if there's any rear end collisions or anything of that nature. You can just replace that section and not have to replace the whole rear cap. So that would save a boatload of money when it comes to parts and labor if they ever damage anything back here. So down below, you'll have your 12,000 pound hitch. You have your 7-way plug in here, and then we option all of our Renegades with the custom Renegade mud flap. So if you have anything behind you towing, your towed, trailers, anything of that nature, it'll help keep rocks and debris being thrown up from the tires or the road or anything, just to protect it. Offer that much more reassurance. So this back right compartment, you'll have your 50 amp power cord, and it will be on a power cord reel. So to operate that, it simply is pull it out, run it down through the cutaway, and then you can retract it on there. And then when you feed it in all the way, it'll spit out just a little bit just to make sure you don't bind it up in there. You have a built-in surge protector as well as an automatic transfer switch. So what that means to you is a lot of people that had older motorhomes, you'd actually have to plug in the RV into itself where there was an outlet here. Your generator would send power to that plug, but it wouldn't actually go to the motorhome until you plugged it in. So the transfer switch detects power, whichever source it's coming from, and chooses which one to direct it. And they do provide a 50 to 30 amp plug. So if you want to run one AC, charge your batteries and stuff, you can utilize that if you don't have access to a 50 amp campground. This next one is going to be your sewer hose holder on the right hand side, and then it'll be your 8,000 watt quiet diesel generator. So this will pull directly from your fuel tank. You do have a 100-gallon fuel tank on this one, and the fill is directly above it. More than enough power for everything on this coach, and more than enough power to run everything, as well as fast charge your lithium batteries that you have on this one. So in the middle, since this one is a propane coach, you will have your furnace right here, and your other forms of heat that we'll go over inside is both of the ACs are 15K, and they have heat pumps as well. So you have a couple different ways you can warm up this coach if it's cold out. So in this bay, it's going to be your water compartment. So you do have a whole house water filter in here. You have tank monitoring that you can see your battery levels as well as each of your individual tanks. All of your remote valves for dumping your tanks in here, your black tank flush, your tank fill, and then you also have a fresh water hose that's on a power cord reel as well. Low point drains and a spigot. So the spigot is if you need cold water or water on this side of the coach, rinse out the sewer hose or anything of that nature. And also your cable inlet in here. So you do have this steel panel. They do have it all cut out for all of the labeling, so you won't have to worry about it fading or peeling off over time. So, you know, 5-10 years down the line, it's still all legible and you know what everything is instead of hunting down those white stickers. Next bay is just going to be tanks, and the same thing for the other one. So you'll see where you actually hook up the sewer hose, and you can also see the tank monitors on there to see the levels of the individual tanks. They do have heating pads mounted to these tanks just to make you be able to go that much deeper into the cold season. This one will be your propane tank. So it is going to be a 20-gallon propane tank. So it'll give you plenty of propane to use for the water heater, the furnace, and any of the cooking that you decide to do. You don't have to worry about that. And then the last bay up here is going to be your batteries. So the front two are going to be your chassis batteries. And then this one we had upgraded with the 3 lithium battery options. So what that means to you is you have 300 amp hours of lithium, and we also equipped 600 watts of solar on the roof. So if you wanted any more off-grid capabilities, you can do that as well. Before we open up the door, you'll have your DEF tank fill right up here. So your fuel fill's on the back half of the coach, your DEF's right here under the driver's step. And while we're in here, we'll go through the section that's up here. So all of your vehicle information, your VIN and all that will be down here. On the S2RV chassis, you still utilize air seats, so you can raise and lower them if you need to. And you can adjust those based on the weight of the person or the comfort that you need on that. Your ignition is going to be down here in the bottom left, so we'll show it now because it's really hard for Jody to see that once we get in and do the chassis at the end. And you also have an electric brake controller down here. So we try to get that equipped from the factory just to save the customer a little bit money, because anything you can do there is always cheaper than getting it done after the fact. The last thing up here is going to be your plug for your block heater. All right. So now what we're going to do is work our way to the inside and go through everything that's in there. When you're looking at the entrance of it, you have very deep step wells in here, so it's more than enough space to throw a couple items down there. If you want to store all of your shoes down underneath, you can. Plenty of room for that. So once we walk in, right on this right, my right, Jody's left, you'll have your battery disconnect. So this will be for the house batteries, Inside, you have the entry step override, so that chooses whether the step comes in and out every time the door is opened, or if it just stays out. Emergency start would link both groups of batteries if you kill one or the other. And then up towards the top portion, this will be one of the ways to turn on your inverter. So you'll have a push button here, or you have the push button on the inverter itself outside. So while we're in here, you guys can't hear it, but it is extremely quiet. There's a lot of sound deadening and thickness in the walls incorporated in the Renegade coaches. We have the generator on, and it has absolutely zero noise in here. I'm gonna let Jody kind of look through. You can see me walking through this while all the slides are closed. So it's really easy to get to your half bath right here, or if you need to get into your fridge or anything of that nature, and then all of your seating is easily accessible. So it's still a very functional motorhome while it's closed. So what we're gonna do now is just open up all of the slides. You'll have a front hydraulic side because it is big and you have a lot of weight to make sure it ensures that seal. And then your bedroom will be a rear electric slide. Since it's not as heavy, they utilize that system just to make sure it seals properly on all four corners. All right. So when you're running out the rear electric slide, you want to make sure that you have proper battery voltage to it. The biggest cause for issues is usually user error for these electric slides. Is you just want to make sure you either have the generator on and it has full voltage, or if your chassis batteries were low, let it idle for a little bit and get some more voltage into those batteries. So we're going to start at the front of this coach and we'll go through the sleeping arrangements. So we talked about that we order all of ours with the overhead bunk. So up here you do have a ridiculously huge bed. You could sleep 2 kids up here pretty easily, as well as a designated TV for them. They will have their own control panel up here. So on that control panel, they can control all the interior lights. They can control the bunk shade, so they actually have some natural lighting up there. And it is electric, so you don't have to worry about them yanking it down or pulling on it or wearing it out. As well as one of the things that Renegade will do is there's designated vents from the AC system to blow directly into that bunk. So it's very hard to see, but there's one here where my arm is and then one off to the right. So there's 2 up there and you can kind of angle them how you want. When you're not using this bunk, it does fold back pretty far to make it easier to get in and out of the front cab. To do it, you just push it in over top of itself, and the cushions are built with a wedge. So you can get in and out, and it makes it much easier to get in and out of the cab while you're up here. So now we'll go down to the driver's side of this and do a little circle in the living room. We ordered this one with feeder seats instead of the couch. You still have seat belts in both of them, so you have a seat belt for each of these, and then there's also seat belts in the dinette. They are manual recliners, so you pop them out, but they do lay pretty flat. So if you're a person that likes to take a nap in chairs, you can do that pretty easily. There is an outlet right next to this one, the front one, and you have USB-C as well as USB-A in there. All of your windows will have day and night roller shades. So we have the day shades down right now just to help with the camera, but you have the blackout shades with the valances throughout the rest of the motorhome. So that'll help with keeping the sun out, keeping the coach cooled down, as well as, you know, any nuisances from the light when you're trying to get sleep or, you know, recovering from the night before. So you'll have a large storage space up here. Renegade uses all hardwood cabinetry, so it's very, very well built wood. They use proper hinges. They're hidden hinges as well as the struts to keep all these doors open. So that is one giant storage spot, so if you need to stick longer items in there, you can. It's not broken up. In the middle, you will have another little cubby, so a lot of people use this for remotes, and then you also have 2 drink holders in here. Right. So in between the dinette and the couch, you'll have more light controls. So it'll just be another one of those little multiplex systems that you have access to. You'll see these throughout the coach, and we'll also see the 2 main panels towards the end of the walkthrough. So here's your additional seating. So this converts to a bed. It is a booth dinette. You flip the lever over, you push it down, and then in these 2 drawers, one on each side, there's going to be a big cushion. You'll push that the rest of the way down and set the cushion over top of that, and then that makes a large bed there. Probably for smaller adults, mainly for kids. But while you have that, since you have additional sleeping capacities, you also have 2 seat belts on this side. So they are forward-facing lap belts, so you can be a little bit more confident if you're taking your grandkids or your kids with you, and you want to make sure they're buttoned down in there. You will have built-in cup holders as well as another outlet on top of the dinette, so just more creature comforts and a little cubby that you could do. I'm going to pull this one part of the way up. So a lot of the windows that you'll have on Renegades will be tilt-out frameless windows, so they look really good from the exterior. But it's also, you get good ventilation and you can leave them open while it's raining and you don't have to worry about water intrusion. So there'll be a couple max air fans in this unit where you can utilize them like attic fans to get that airflow. So this will be the other storage spot for underneath the booth. All right. And we'll cover that section when we get back to the bathroom. Here's going to be your residential fridge. So this will be the main thing that your inverter's tied into. It does have an ice maker in it, so a lot of people look for motorhomes with the ice makers because some of the bigger fridges don't have those, surprisingly. Up above it's going to be an AV cabinet. So mainly storage. Back to the Renegade features where a lot of the shelves will be adjustable. So if you want to put bigger, smaller items in here, you can. You have HDMI and cable hookups for in here. This one was equipped with an in-motion satellite on the roof. You just have to bring your own receiver or buy your own. And if you want to hook anything else up to the TV in the living room, this is where it would go. So we'll see that in a second. So now we're going to work our way over to the kitchen area. And you'll have a convection microwave. So even though this is a propane coach, you don't have an oven. They replaced that with the storage down. So convection microwaves are pretty simple to use. You'd hit convection and then you'd set the temperature and you'd wait for it to heat up just like an oven. Up above it, you'll have a big storage spot and also the plug for the microwave. Down below, you'll have your 3-burner cooktop with the solid surface covers over them. And you'll have these covers for the oven as well as the sink. And you can, even if the cooktop is hot, you can still set these back down on it. You just don't want to have the flame heating it up. They're not as brittle as those old glass cooktops that you had. You do have a tile backsplash around the oven just to help protect the wood and make it a little bit easier to clean when you have the kitchen or when you're cooking in the kitchen. So down below we'll have drawers. So Renegade uses the solid wood drawers and they use dovetail cabinetry. So it's one of the things that a lot of home builders you'll notice in higher end homes. So they just want to make sure their products are going to last a little bit longer, and it's a lot of effort to do those additional steps. So, and all the drawers have soft close. All right, so you'll see there's ample counter space in here, and they do provide a little countertop extension off to the left over here. So it gives you a little bit more workspace, especially being in that 38-foot floor plan. So in this compartment, you'll have some lubricant, the water filter for outside, a few remotes, and then they also send touch-up paint for the exterior. So you'll have that factory paint and all of the paint codes on it if you ever need to make any of those corrections. Down below is just another big cubby. Right here you'll have a huge stainless steel sink. It is very deep, so you see the size of that, and it fits all the way down in the sink. So it is a very large sink if you just want to let stuff pile up in there, or you need to wash your big pots and pans. Up above you'll have two more big cabinets. These are fixed shelves, not adjustable shelves up here. You'll have the chassis owner manuals as well as the motorhome portion owner manuals in here. So they make sure you got plenty to read whenever you want to go through that. And then down below the sink will be your last cabinets down in the kitchen area. You'll have a designated spot for a trash can, as well as just a little bit more storage, because again, they want to make you utilize every nook and cranny that you can. You don't want dead space in a motorhome. So now what we're going to do while we're up here, and this one's a little bit easier to see, we'll cover the control panel for this. So in the control panel, you have your home button. You have your lights master switch. You'll see your AC temperatures as well as the current temperature, and you can see if they're running or not. You'll be able to see all your tank and your LP levels, as well as water pump, tank heaters, and then turning on your satellite. You can turn on and off your generator, see your battery voltages for your house and chassis, as well as set up auto gen start in here. So auto gen start can be triggered through internal temperature in here or based on the state of charge on the batteries. So the next tab is going to be lights. You can control all of the lights individually. Any of them with the up down arrows are dimmable. This will be the power section, so it'll show you where all your power is going, how many hours are on your generator, how much power you're pulling, as well as what's pulling on that power for any of your 110 appliances. And you can also see your solar and how much charge that's bringing in. Next will be your climate controls. So the front zones, you have cool, heat pump, furnace, or auto. So auto will turn on heat or AC depending on what it needs at the time. And your rear will also be cool, heat pump, and you also control the Truma Aqua Go from here as well. Next one will be those max air fans we were talking about. So that's how you can either vent out the kitchen or the bathroom, or both of the bathrooms, and get some of that attic fan breeze when you have your windows open, or just venting out from your cooking or anything. The next one's going to be slide room controls, as well as the bunk shade, the awning controls, or your leveling. So you can control your leveling from here or from the main control panel up front in the chassis area. And the final tab will be your settings. So you can download a mobile app and pair it with this, and you can control most of your motorhome via Bluetooth when you're around it. So that way, if it's just you setting it up and you don't bring your family with you, you can stand outside and make sure the slide or the awnings or anything isn't going to hit anything. So, and then all the settings, the time settings, and your screen brightness is all done in here. So that'll pretty much cover it for the control panel. I'll show you where the other one is once we get to the back of the motorhome. So the last portion, kind of in the middle of the motorhome, it's still a part of the kitchen. You'll have a top portion being adjustable pantry. So again, all these shelves are movable depending on what you want to put in here. And then this bottom one will be your electrical. So you'll have fuses and your breakers in here, and then all of them are labeled so you know what what everything goes to if you ever need to access it. We equipped this one with a stackable washer and dryer. So the good indicators of that is you always see these louvered cabinets. That usually means it's plumbed for it or it's already in it. So they do operate off of 110, so you'll need your generator on or be plugged into shore power. So this next section is going to be your half bath. So this is a bath and a half coach. This will be the one that you're using when your slides are closed and you need access to it. You have toilet down here. You have another one of those multiplex control panels right here, so that can control the vent, the water pump, or the lights. That way, if you forget to turn on the water, you're dry camping, you can turn the water pump without relying on someone else or making that awkward shuffle to go turn it on. In here, you'll have a vanity and storage behind it. So nice deep storage. They utilized all the space that they could. You also have a lot of counter space, as well as sinks that are built into the countertop. So you're not have just the metal sink. It blends in the same coloration of it. And then down below, you'll have big cabinet with the toilet paper holder already built in. So you don't have to worry about mounting that. And then they double stack that wood, so there's a place for those screws to mount into without puncturing through the other side of the wood. One of the things that we'll see is throughout this coach, you'll have pocket doors. They'll have button snaps in here to keep it closed during transit, as well as magnets. So they do this to help eliminate that hallway shuffle, so you're not having to deal with people stepping by, open the door, and all of that to get through. You just open and close the door and it's out of the way. You will have another one of those in the back bedroom right here to separate it. So if you want to block off the bedroom as well as the back bathroom, if someone needs to get ready, you can. So this one operates like a French door. You have magnets in the middle of the door as well as magnets on both ends, and you can lock it right in here if you want to lock it closed. But again, so you're not playing with those angled doors and struggling to get in and out of places. So the left side, you have cubbies on each side of the bed. This one will probably be the easiest to see for now. You have adjustable shelves in there, so you could do books or any of the medicines or anything that people need on the nightstand. You'll have overhead storage up here. It is one giant storage compartment and an outlet up there. So if you need to set a CPAP up there, route out a hole through it, you can. You can also put any of the electronics that you don't want next to you up here. You will have outlets with USB-C and USB-A on both sides of the bed, so you can do that. It is a king bed, so if you want to have ample space or your larger people and stuff, because we get a lot of customers that are significantly taller than the rest of us, and the king bed is something that matters to them. Underneath that king bed, you'll have your fresh water tank. So Renegade does 150 gallons of fresh, 75 gray, 75 black. So they built these so you can have plenty of off-grid potential. So you can drain it from in here or you can drain it from outside. If you need to dump the tanks out, they are tied together, and then as well as easy access to your water pump, and it's mounted on a steel plate here, so it is isolated to help eliminate a little bit of that vibration when it's on and off. On this right side here, you'll have your first of two hanging storages. This will be cloned on the other side, so we'll go through it detail on over here and then just kind of speed through it on the other side. So hanging up top, and then you'll have 3 drawers or 4 drawers down below it. So a lot of storage space in the bedroom, especially for not having like a designated rear closet. You'll have a TV here mounted on a swivel mount, so you can get it just a little bit closer or directed towards someone, you can do that. In the middle, you'll have solid surface countertop. They carried that in from the kitchen and that mid bath, just so if you set drinks or anything on it, you don't have to worry about it. You'll have another AV cabinet for the TV that's up above, as well as the remote being in here for it. They are smart TVs, so if you get internet or get Starlink or anything like that, you can connect to it remotely and just use streaming services instead of campground Wi-Fi. So one big storage bay or big drawer here, and then you'll have 2 smaller drawers down below that. So if you want to step over here, Jody, you can see that other control panel. So you do have 2 of those main control panels, one in the kitchen and then one in the bedroom. So if you want to go do everything from in here that you would do out there, but you don't want to go out there, you can do it from right here. And it's all the same thing. There's no limitations on this one compared to the front one. It's another master panel. So this is going to be the clone we were talking about of having more hanging and then 4 more drawers. So lots of storage in this bedroom. And then the last portion back here. So you'll have another large pocket door. If you need to do get ready just in the back bedroom or you want to close the door off, you can do that. You'll have a radius fiberglass shower. So if you're taller, you will fit in here. I'm 5'10", and it takes me sticking my hand up to get in the skylight, so it could probably fit someone up to like 6'4", 6'5", and they'll still be comfortable. The shower head is adjustable in here, so you can raise it and lower it. If you get any taller, obviously you're going to be using it as a wand. Little soap tray in here, as well as little steps or a seat depending on what you need. And it is a real fiberglass shower, so it's not just the plastic surround sound. In the bathroom, you retain that same solid surface, and then they run it all the way to the edge of the wall just so you get a little bit more space that you can do in here, as well as outlet there. Up above it is going to be another medicine cabinet with adjustable shelves. And then you'll have cabinet with fixed shelves, and then another cabinet up above. So again, as much storage as you can cram anywhere that you can. You'll have a designated towel holder and then a face wash holder there. Another porcelain toilet with electric flush, the same as the half bath. Storage down below here if you want to store any of your belongings down there, or the towels and wash rags. And then in here will be the same as the other one, just a big storage compartment with the toilet paper holder built in. So while we're looking up, one of the things that Renegade does is you have the max air fans that we talked about. They do have rain sensors built into them, so if it starts raining, they will close. They utilize soft touch sealing, so that's going to help with the noise, sound deadening, as well as insulation factors. And right now, one of the ACs just kicked on and you guys can't hear it at all. We can hear the wind a little bit, but there's no vibrations or anything from the AC, so it helps out a lot. So the last thing that we'll cover will be the chassis, and we'll work our way to the front of the coach for that. So, all right. You'll have very plush seats up here. And they are the air ride seats, so what that'll do for you is help eliminate a lot of the driver fatigue. They do provide a carpet up here to help with the heat transfer of the engine, as well as, again, sound deadening, because they want to make this as comfortable of an experience as you can. On the seats, you have armrests on both sides. They are adjustable. You can recline, and then you do raise and lower it with the air ride for the seat, and then you have a slider for front and back on it. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this one on, and we'll start with over here. Let's see. So the Garmin display is removable, so if you want to have your passenger play with the pad and set up the navigation or the radio and everything, you can. It is synced directly with it. I had this on earlier. There it goes. So we'll wait for that to boot up. You do have outlets right here. Your leveling controls are right here, and we talked about how you can control it from here or from that the main Firefly panel in here. You have USB or headphone jack there. Your dash AC controls will be up here. Docking lights are for backing up and on the sides of the coach, so if you want to hook up at night, you can. Truck and trailer camera are right there. Fast idle, if you want to set fast idle because you're sitting in a parking lot and you don't want to clog up that DPF filter. One of the things that Renegade does that I haven't seen on a lot of the other manufacturers is they'll have the traction control as well as suspension dump. So on the S2RV chassis, it is front leaf spring suspension and rear airbags. A lot of the other competitors that I've worked with and for, they don't do the suspension dump for the rear. So what that means for you is if you're doing a low trailer or you don't don't have enough tongue jack or anything, you can dump the rear airbags and close that gap and make it lower to the ground and easier to hook up, or just a little bit faster because you're not waiting for the tongue jack. Traction control spin, so that's turning traction control off. You have lane departure warnings on here, so it'll help keep you in the lane. Footwell light and your hazard lights are all going to be here. Now that the Garmin turned on, we can talk a little bit about this. So you will have navigation in here. It's prepped for Sirius XM, Bluetooth, and your radio is all through here. So the biggest thing you do is just play with it and figure out what everything does and what the capabilities are for it. Your camera systems will all be in here, so when you switch your left and right blinkers or you put it in reverse, this is what will change and what you can see. So the last section was going to be up here. So this is utilizing that newer Freightliner chassis. It's a 2025. All of your gear shifting, your exhaust brake, and paddle shifting is all done right on the column. So drive, neutral, reverse is as simple as just rotating it around. So that's how you just shift the gears on it. Manual and auto, if you want to manually select the gears, you would just hold it until it goes into manual, and then you can just manually paddle shift it up and down. And your exhaust brake on this one is just going to be as simple as flipping that lever towards you, and then it'll engage the exhaust brake. On the left side of it, you're going to have your blinkers, your high beams, as well as all your windshield wiper controls. So they just made sure all of it is easy to reach and easy to get to. On the steering wheel itself, you can play with all your settings on here. You can this one will actually display your speed digitally. A lot of people, especially my age, want to see that and not read the actual mile per hour gauge. So that's super convenient to have. You can see your trip as well as your fuel economy. Tire pressure monitoring is built into this chassis, so you don't have to worry about that aftermarket, and it'll give you alerts if anything's getting out of line there. And you can know any alerts will pop up there as low fuel, low def, tire pressure, any of the check engine stuff will all appear in here. So this right one the left one is going to be for navigating that. Your plus and minus is just going to be for the volume controls. And on the gauge itself, you'll have RPMs, your oil pressure, your fuel is going to be the white needle, your def is going to be the blue needle, that screen that we were looking at, and you can see what mode you're in and what gear you'll be in the bottom right hand corner. Miles per hour is here, your air pressure for both of your tanks is there. One needle's white, one needle's blue. Obviously they try to be in equilibrium, so you'll have it usually on top of each other. And then your coolant sensor will be that bottom right one. So you get a lot of gauges that you need when you're driving one of these, so you can keep track of. This right side is going to be your cruise control settings as well as your lights and hanging up and answering the phone call if you're connected to the Garmin via Bluetooth. And your mirror controls are all going to be on this far left. So locks, window controls, the mirrors are heated, as well as you can control that top mirror like we talked about outside. That's pretty much going to cover it for this one. So this has been the Renegade Valencia 38RB. My name's Justin, and it's Transwest Truck Trailer RV. If you'd like to get a hold of me, my cell phone's 404-936-6215. If you prefer email, it's justin.rogers@transwest.com. Have a good one.